all the directions that Randall says. I'd like to call the meeting to order. I am sitting. Thank you. I'd like to call to order the meeting of March 18th. I am sitting in for the mayor tonight. Can you please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Will the clerk please call the roll?
Potato,
Here.
Bowman,
Here.
Brown. Councilmember Brown is absent tonight. Clarigat,
Here.
Cole,
Here.
Elfers,
Here.
Stewart.
Here.
Yes, Councilmember Brown is absent tonight. Is there a motion to excuse him from tonight's meeting?
I'll make a motion to excuse Councilmember Brown.
I'll second it.
Second by Councilmember Rotato. Will the clerk please read the consent agenda?
Would you like to take a vote on Brown absence
Oh,
first?
Yes, that would be nice.
Thank you.
Yes, can we take a vote, please?
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Unanimous, thank you. Now, will the clerk please read the consent agenda?
Item number 1, approval of the checks and electronic payments in the amount of $2,935,510.68. Item number 2, approval of the minutes from the regular council meeting of March 4th, 2024 and March 11th, 2024 study session.
Councilmember Potato, would you like to make a motion to adopt the consent agenda?
Yes.
Is there a second?
Oh. I'd like to make a motion to adopt the consent agenda.
I'll second it.
Earl Stewart, Councilmember Stewart, second the motion. So is there, would any council member like to remove an item from the agenda? From the consent agenda? I guess that's a no. Okay. So, I guess we already voted on that.
No.
We did not.
Deputy Mayor, you will
Okay,
need to take
so-
a vote.
Is everyone in favor of tonight's consent agenda?
Aye.
Yes.
Aye. Thank you. Okay, so, that motion, that, passes. Now, we do have a public hearing tonight, and we have a public hearing on Resolution 1678, 2025-2030, the 6-year Transportation Improvement Annual Update. I am opening this public hearing at 6:06 p.m. and I call on Associate Engineer Andrew Leach. Mr. Leach.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. I'm Andrew Leach, Associate City Engineer. This public hearing is for the 2025 through 2030 6-year Transportation Improvement Program Annual Update. We also call it the 6-year TIP for short. This slide up on the viewing boards are the overall map of the 6-year TIP that we went over at last Monday's study session. Per state law, the city is required to update its 6-year TIP annually and file a copy of the adopted program with the State Department of Transportation. As part of this requirement, the city must hold a public hearing to provide an opportunity for the public to comment on the plan. This item was previously brought to council at the March 11th study session. And then I have just a few quick highlights for this year's update. The first is our Main Street and Wood Avenue intersection improvement. project. This project's planned to wrap up this year. Should be done in the next few months. The next project is our Stewart Road Bridge Replacement Project. We have construction planned for next year in 2025. The project's now fully funded. And total project cost of 35 million. And then the last quick update that I have is our Fire Avenue Shared Use Trail. Our construction is planned for next year. We received a $5.3 million grant from the Pedestrian and Bicycle Safety Program. And with a total project cost of 7.2 million. And with that, I'll open it up.
Are there any comments from the public?
Can you ask a question? How
Yeah.
long is the trail?
You actually have to.
You have to
come
go
to
up
the
there.
Oh,
and stand.
And for a point of order for the public, this is a public hearing, so we won't be able to answer questions. It's just your opportunity to respond to the
Yeah.
transportation improvement plan and offer your input of things you'd like to see changed in it.
He can't answer any questions.
Okay, what's the difference then between a comment and a question? It can't, I guess I'm.
Sir, you need to go to the mic. I can't hear you. The public.
Okay,
can't
no,
hear
it's
you,
fine.
so you need to-
Never mind. I'm,
We do have a public comment. Thank you.
I need to do my name and the address and the whole thing.
Yes,
Okay.
can you read,
You need to.
can you read the rules for public comment? Thank you.
Please begin your comments by stating for the record your name and address or city and where you reside. You do have 3 minutes to speak. And if everyone will have a chance to speak, if you did not sign up, please remember that this is a time for the council to hear from you and not a time to engage in back and forth. If you have specific questions, you may be directed to a staff member.
I'm Amanda Henderson. I live at 5908. Sorry, what do I do? Just hit. All right, sweet. Sorry, I'm not usually the first one. My name's Amanda Henderson. I live at 5908 and 5912 162nd Avenue East. If you look at that map, I was hoping they updated it this week since the study session last week, but they have not. C9 is a road that's going to come from 60th, curve around through these lovely brand new apartments across my street, and then apparently gonna go all the way out to 160th. To do that, you'd have to buy my north end of my property. And you'd also have to tear down a brand new clubhouse, a brand new pool, a brand new workout room, and 2 apartment buildings that they just put in for you guys to put this road through. So that's cool if that's your plan. I have a feeling that the developer's probably not gonna be real happy about it. So you might want to update some things before you go stamping your rubber stamp of approval on this 6-year plan, because a lot of it ain't making sense right now. Especially since that has been under construction for over 2 years and in talks for way more than that, apparently, which I'm finding out. It's just another example that you might want to do some more research behind those doors before we start approving things. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to provide a public comment? Anyone online wishing to provide a public comment? Okay, there are none. So I will close the hearing at 6:11 p.m. Now on to regular business. There is no unfinished business tonight. So now is an opportunity for public comment. The rules for public comment were read earlier. So this is an opportunity for anyone in the audience or anyone participating via Zoom to make a comment regarding an item which is not on the agenda tonight. Anyone wishing to make a public comment?
we have some people signed up.
Okay. So Nick Bierman, thank you.
It is still on, right?
Yep. Yeah, you're good.
Okay. Okay, so first, let me go back to a few weeks ago and welcome the new council member, Councilmember Clerget. We now have 2 Pats on city council, so can we say one good Pat deserves another? And then can we also please take a moment to recognize the Sumner High School basketball teams. The boys and girls teams went they made runs in the postseason, and the girls team made it to the state semifinals. So they deserve a round of applause. Okay, so I want to take the rest of my time to talk about the case that Nancy Ryan Dressel was involved with. The Save Our Sumner Committee filed a suit in Pierce County Superior Court. And as you know, Judge Stanley Rumbaugh made a ruling last week. I have provided the council members with copies of the judge's comments in his decision. This is a matter of public record. And I want the council members to see for yourselves. You represent us as an elected official here in Sumner, and I want you to see the stern rebuke that the judge gave the city and how they proceeded with the Ryan House in particular. So the attorneys for the city were arguing that converting the Ryan House property to a city park was a quote planned action, and that the city can turn any city property within the town center planned sub area into green space at its sole discretion without having input from the public. The city is currently doing this with the old post office on Kincaid Avenue. So think about that for a minute. So the city is saying in a court of law that it does not need to consult its own citizens first before doing something as drastic as tearing down the Ryan House. The same thing can be said, for that matter, about removing the fountain and the bricks that were donated by long-term family members of Sumner in the Canal Block Park Plaza. So Judge Rumbaugh disagreed with the city and specifically cited RCW 3670A040 in the Revised Code of Washington that requires early and continuous public participation and broad dissemination of information in developing and amending the city's comprehensive plan. The city must allow the opportunity for public comment and open discussion of proposals and alternatives when changes to this plan are made. And I'm going to pause there because I'm running low on time. Let's see, the next speaker is Melissa Fox.
I cede my time to Nick.
So I want that on record that I can continue for another 3 minutes. So in Judge Rumbaugh's ruling, he stated that simply placing the Ryan House on the city council agenda for a one-time up or down vote does not constitute the proper notice required by state law. In fact, he noted that the comprehensive plan in place at the time specifically emphasized the value of the Ryan House and the efforts underway to renovate and rehabilitate the structure. It said nothing about taking a wrecking ball to the Ryan House. Judge Rumbaugh went even further to say that it's not within the city's purview to short circuit the notice and hearings provisions required by state law by trying to designate the Ryan House as a planned action under the guise of adding green space to the town center sub area. And then furthermore, he said that because the amendment process is underway already to the city's comprehensive plan, that the city must allow this process to continue with the proper public input. The city is already going through this process, but because the process was not followed properly the first time, the demolition permit for the Ryan House was revoked and the process is remanded back to the city, which I said they're already going through. So I urge you today, just know as members of the city council who represent us as citizens, that when the city staff presents items before you for approval, and the city staff says that a hearing is not required, that information may not be correct. The city staff were wrong here, and that's what got us in this mess in the first place. And I don't know about you, but if I did something like that with my job, I would be fired on the spot. My recommendation going forward is that all of you, as our elected representatives, do not blindly trust city staff, and that you instead ask questions and insist on getting answers first before you make decisions that affect all of us as residents of Sumner. Stand with us, the citizens of the community. Stand up to the bullies. Work with us to find out if the staff recommendations meet the needs and desires of the community before you make those decisions. Just this past month, we had a new council member who was selected by the city council, and there was supposed to be a public comment period of 2 minutes per person allowed to speak. That was never granted. The public never got input on selecting the new council member. This has got to change going forward. Even now, the city currently has confusing information about the deadlines for revising the comprehensive plan. I had to seek clarification from the city staff to find out whether March 27th or April 30th is the deadline for public comment, because both are listed on the city's website. We have to stop doing the bare minimum and act in good faith with the citizens of our community. Do better. Don't make us seek clarifications from the staff first, so we know what is going on. I have more to say, but I'll leave that till the next.
You can take mine,
Oh,
cause I got some.
okay.
Point of order. Would you like to call the names of the
Yes,
next
the
person?
next on the list, or I guess it doesn't matter, whoever's seating their time, but I do have him as Laura Hendricks. Are you,
I'm here, but I'd like to wait so he can cede his time.
okay, for Gary Rain?
That's me, and I'm gonna donate my time to Nick.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. So having said all that, let's turn the tide toward coming together in the spirit of cooperation and work together in united fashion to save the Ryan House, keep it in our future for all of us, preserve it for generations to come. We can work together to secure the funding needed to renovate and rehabilitate the Ryan House. If the city hadn't given back the grants it had already received, combined with the additional Heritage Capital Project grant that could be awarded for another biennium, we could be 90% of the way there toward funding. And did you also know that the Heritage Capital Project allows the monetary value of labor and supplies to be counted toward the matching portion of the grant? That means that we could use volunteers and donated resources to help us get to 100% of the value needed to restore the Ryan House. There's no excuse not to try, but we need the commitment from the city in order to make this happen. And we don't have time to lose either, because the deadlines for the next biennium of the Heritage Capital Project are coming up next week, March 27th. We need to act fast to make it happen. We're telling you as citizens of the community of Sumner that we want this to happen. Listen to us.
Would the deputy mayor please turn on her mic?
Thank you, that would be helpful. Ms. Laura Hendricks.
Hello, my name is Laura Hendricks. I'm a resident of Sumner, Washington. I was born and raised in Sumner, and me and all my siblings have attended pretty much all of the schools in downtown Sumner here. My husband and I bought our first home together here in Sumner because we wanted to be near the parks where we can take our girls. I'd honestly rather be there right now than here right now, because my girls are out playing, walking the dog, having a good time right now. But I'm here because you all are making me be here. We love our parks in Sumner, but we don't want another park. We want the Ryan House. I'm asking you to include and honor the restoration of the Ryan House in the comprehensive plan update. I'm asking you, Sumner City Council members, Deputy Mayor, to stop. I'm asking you to stop moving forward with the demolition of the Ryan House and fully reconsider the action you voted to take in September 2023. We all make mistakes, and this proposed demolition of the Ryan House is the biggest mistake that the city could possibly make. Once she is gone, she is gone. No photograph, no history book, no monument, no plaque will replace that. We want the Ryan House to remain standing as a museum, as a member of our family. We have an opportunity to leave our mark on Sumner, to retain our legacy home, and to prove her for generations to come. Please, please stop the actions that you are taking. You are not acting on behalf of the citizens of Sumner. They are terrified to come here and speak to you. That's why I'm here. I'm telling you what every single neighbor has told me. Please stop with the demolition of the Ryan House. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hendricks. Next on the list is Mr. Brian Macy.
Name is Brian Massey. Born in Tacoma, but raised here in Sumner, live in Bonnie Lake. Guess that's part of Sumner still. I grew up here for over almost 60+ years. I used to go to the Ryan House as a child into the library. Used to play football on the side. Played downtown. Used to go to Geno's, which is no longer there, the sporting place which burned. We lost too much already in this town as it is. There's not much left of the history. Sumner used to be an agricultural town. I don't know how you can tear down a building that started the city. That to me just does not make sense. It's like, let's go over to Puyallup and tear down Meeker Mansion, which they tried. But again, the people stood up and said, we don't want that. We want to keep our history. Like she said, we want to pass it on to our next generations. There's not much left here. I can't think of one other place in Sumner that's still here. All the schools basically have been redone. I can go on about other things, but I basically just say, we can't get rid of it. Once it's gone, it's gone. Like she said too. Photos, plaques, things like that just aren't what we want. We want the actual building. It is part of our town. If it wasn't for that, Sumner wouldn't be here. It's simple as that. How can you get rid of, let's put down the old pet, but that's just not what you would really want to do. It's just too much to see lost over what I feel the city council over, and you guys here, but in the past have not taken care of it. It's been let go. It's not maintained. So I just strongly urge you guys to save it, because you lose the heart of the city. I mean, there's ways to do it. It's like you're talking about moving the library from over along the river to down by Fred Meyer's. Doesn't make sense to me. You got a river. I'd rather sit out on a lawn and read a book than along Main Street down there and try to read a book over car noise. That's money that could be put to save the Ryan House. I mean, it's pretty simple to me. I don't know why you guys even voted for it. I found out just by chance that you guys.
Sir, your time is up.
Okay. But save it, please.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Massey. Next up, Mr. Henderson, Casey Henderson.
Casey Henderson, 162nd Ave East, here for Randall. So here we are, back to where we wished we had been a year ago, actually having conversations regarding the future of the Ryan House and how this process can become a we working together. Or is it destined to simply be the cake that has already been cooked and you're allowing us to put some frosting on it to say we tried? I hope not. The city started this new comprehensive plan last year. So sad that it's not how we proceeded then, with everything open for everyone to see. Hopefully we can try and bridge this gap between citizens not trusting in your process and the city being upset because citizens voiced their displeasure and caused you to slow down and open up by taking you to court. I would have preferred the city had not wasted $60,000 to defend a rushed process, had instead sought out community involvement and seen if we collectively could have worked together to celebrate Sumner's history and culture as a whole, as quoted in your press release after last week's court decision. Now where we are is that citizens need to speak up regarding your new comprehensive plan that removes the Ryan House, the SHS, our original settlers, and any mention of our wonderful agricultural history that instead we should be celebrating and marketing with. While we hear that is your desire to have a opportunity to comment on how we honor and celebrate Sumner's history and culture as a whole, here are examples of the comprehensive plan revision doing just the opposite. Changing in the values and stewardship section. The settlers of the Sumner Valley left us filled with many beautiful and valuable resources. It now reads, the Sumner Valley is filled with many beautiful and valuable resources. Goodbye Kincaids, Wooleries, Thompsons, Ryans, Parkers, and many more. No settlers allowed in this version of history and culture. Under the new vision section, numerous examples removing any reference to our wonderful agricultural history. Goodbye to celebrating any names like Orton, who were instrumental in starting the Daffodil Parade. Ryan, Knutson, Van Leerup, Oda, Arima, Asahara, Matlack, Foster, and yes, Clerget too. Goodbye to our amazing agricultural history and culture that we should be celebrating. We used to be the rhubarb capital of the world. Now we make great pies and celebrate that, as many of those fields are concreted over for the higher tax revenue that comes with commercial properties versus agricultural land. The Ryan House is completely removed from any mention in the new comprehensive plan. Goodbye to one of our most celebrated historical homes and culture displays from over the past 150 years. The Sumner Historical Society is also removed. No more cooperation between the city and this valuable source of history and culture. Would think if the city wanted to change their arrangement with the SHS, they could have done something like they're doing with the Arts Commission tonight. I only have 10 seconds left, so. I'll pass it on.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson. Mrs.
I'm also reading for Randall Adams, who cannot be here tonight, but he's a Sumner resident. I'll pick up where he left off. There are numerous additional instances which will be included in my response before March 27th, 2024. Yet from a macro perspective, we are selling our souls and our wonderful small town to placate what the state wants. My question is, at what cost? Have you done a cost benefit analysis if we instead say no to the state? How much would we actually lose versus getting funds for the city government to keep growing? It may be we want to stay a moderately growing Sumner, not a place where people do not own homes and instead are stacked into high-rise apartments to walk to the almighty train station like zombies. That is not progressive. It is instead depressing for those who will be forever on the treadmill of rent payments and having their dreams of ownership taken away. This is not progressive. This is Karl Marx's dream. Maybe we should rename our town Train Station Number 9 or Marksville. No, thank you. I love Sumner and all it has been and continued to be for us and future generations. I do truly hope that we can start sitting down across the table or even next to each other and hear each other out and see if all of our love for Sumner can result in something the whole community can rally around and have pride in. That is being progressive in the old-fashioned way, earning it together and embracing we the people. That's the end of Randall's, but I still have a minute, so I'm gonna say my own. So I went to the trial last week and I would like to quote the lawyer that you guys hired to represent you. And it literally made me pause and go, what? Quote, many historic buildings will be impacted or demolished due to the town center plan. Then we also aware of that? So now I guess I'm gonna start researching this because I talked to someone else that was there and she said, yeah, look it up. The plan is to basically tear down most of Main Street and make it retail on the bottom and high-rise apartments and make it look like Auburn. Have any of you gone to Auburn lately? It's dead. It's completely dead. I used to go, there's one restaurant on Main Street I used to go with my dad to have breakfast, and that's the only reason anybody's going downtown Auburn. If you want to kill Sumner, go for it. Go look at Auburn. That's what it's going to look like. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not really sure why we spent $60,000. Like, no offense, we have a city attorney that we already, as taxpayers, pay her to defend these things. Nothing against her, just we already pay for it. So don't play the victim and we had to spend another $60,000 to bring this up because these people want to save the Ryan House. No, we already paid taxes for a city attorney. If you choose to pay the 60 grand because you need extra help, that's not us. Don't play the victim because that's what's out on the street. People are saying, oh, well, it's costing taxpayers more money. No, that's 60 grand you could have put into save the Ryan House from the start. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Anderson. Is there anyone else who would like to make a comment? Please step to the mic, please. Tell us your name.
Gary Yoder, I've spent 78 years here in Sumner. I didn't want to come and talk, but I sit here and I get wound up, riled up about what's happening here. What do I do? I'm going to be 78 Wednesday. And what am I doing? I'm going to Port Townsend. That is the neatest town around. No road rage, no crazy people. Beautiful town, old, beautiful. If you guys jumped in a van, all went to Port Townsend, went to Paulsbo, you'd say, now that is a place I'd like to live. Sumner's not the place I would like to live anymore. I don't know how many of you on the council had your names or your mom or dad's name on the waterfall. I know you can't raise hands, you can't comment, but I'll guarantee if your mom or dad's name was on there and you didn't know it, and all of a sudden you guys come in here with a track hole, tear it out, that big deal. You know, all the bricks that we paid money for to have our name put on it, so we would feel proud of Sumner. Get it out of here. Just replace it with concrete. Concrete looks so good. It's sad. When I walk into the Y, what do I see? Bricks with people's name on it. Were they honored to put their name on there? Yes. If we went in there with the track hole and tore it all out because, well, it doesn't look good, it doesn't meet the standards. I mean, it's sad. It's really sad. And I wish all of you on the council had your dad's name in that water feature and just said, yeah, it's okay. Tear it out of there. Big deal. It means nothing to me. My dad spent 20 years sitting up there and that made me proud. And when his name got tore out of there and Kathy had enough guts saying, well, we got rid of it because the homeless was using it for latrine. I would look in there probably 2 or 3 times a month to make sure dad's still there and everything. I didn't see it used as a latrine, but that was the excuse why she gave me why it should go away. But I'm proud of Sumner. I still am. I don't like where it's going. Ryan House, I mean, you might as well tear it out of there and put in homeless tents. That's what's going to happen. I mean, we've got something to be proud of. I restore classic cars and I've had cars that you think should go to the junkyard. Come look at them now. Anything can be restored. And that needs to be done. So, I mean, it's a shame where this town's going. I don't know if all you people who live in Sumner, have lived in Sumner all your life. You don't have any feeling for this town. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Yoder. Anyone else wishing to make a comment, please, sir, step to the mic and give us your name.
I'm just pissed at this council.
Hi, my name is Todd Dressel. I live in Port Orchard, Washington. with My wife Nancy, I'm not from Sumner. And I've only come to 2 or 3 of these council meetings with her, with this Save the Ryan House. And I'm always befuddled by the difference between a comment and a question. Because it seems like asking questions, getting answers would be the most logical way to communicate. In my particular case, I'm asking a couple of questions. I don't expect any answers, but I'm commenting on the question about why they hired an attorney. That would be a good explanation for a council to explain. And on the trails, the $7 million you're spending on trails, which looked like it might be a 1 or 2 or 3 mile trail. I don't know. I couldn't ask the question. So millions of dollars per mile for a trail that, I know it's a different department, a different agency, but they could spend that on the Ryan House. It doesn't seem like the value of the money. Seemed like you kind of lost your vision on that. It's like $7 million on trails, but you can't afford to restore the house that costs $2 million or $3 million. That seems like chicken feed from this side of the city. That's my comment. Not a question, but just a comment.
Thank you, Mr. Dressel. Any additional comments? I see another one. Please step forward.
She does see, come have some answers.
Hi, I'm Julie Norris. I live on Cherbanka Avenue. Lived here for 30 years. This has all been pretty upsetting to me. And I think that the city staff and council have all the critiques are unwarranted to some degree. And I looked through all the materials online, and it's evident that years worth of work went into that. And, you know, the types of information there, all the engineering studies and all the grants, that's impressive. I'm a tech writer, and I can tell you the number and variety of grants that were found, it's very impressive. So I think the staff has done a phenomenal job. And I don't agree with everyone here. I don't think they represent everyone. But the judge decided, you know, it goes back to public comment, and that's where we are. So I hope people will put in their comments, but it's not going to change the fact that the structural integrity isn't there, and it will cost a lot of money. So the budget's not going to change. You could replace everybody, but that's not going to change. And that's what the issue is. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Norris. Any other comments? Any comments online? Okay. I believe that that is it for public comments. Let's move forward with new business at this time. So first on the agenda for new business is ordinance number 2880, the Cultural Arts Commission changes. Councilmember Elfers, would you like to make a motion?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to adopt ordinance number 2880, Cultural Arts Commission changes.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Councilmember Potato, thank you. Mr. Windish.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor, members of the City Council. Ryan Windish, Community and Economic Development Director. And before you tonight is ordinance 2880. It'll make changes to chapter 2.86 in regards to the Cultural Arts Commission. The Cultural Arts Commission plays a valuable role in providing leadership and promoting art appreciation and creative expression in diverse visual, literary, cultural, and performing arts in Sumner. In order to be more effective, reduce challenges to managing a large commission, and to reduce the level of involvement and commitment in certain administrative processes, staff is recommending approval of ordinance number 2880, which reduces the membership on the Cultural Arts Commission from 15 to 9, removes the YMCA representative as a required position, and clarifies that the Cultural Arts Commission serves as an advisory role on matters related to their purpose, which I already summarized. So there are some other administrative changes that aren't reflected in the ordinance around procurement. Staff focus more on that and take some of those administrative duties away from Cultural Arts Commission. And when it comes to processes such as selecting artists and vendors, the Cultural Arts Commission will be advisory, with the director making final decision. And they'll be advising on other things such as capital improvement projects, parks, and design elements that enhance public spaces. Cultural Arts Commission will also be meeting on a as-needed basis instead of quarterly. They've actually honestly been meeting more or less on an as-needed basis as it has been, so it doesn't change too much. The ordinance went to the Community Development Committee of the council, and they recommended approval unanimously. You have to answer any questions.
Are there any comments from the public?
Yes.
Yes, Mr. Bierman.
Nick Bierman, Parker Road East. Just a quick comment on this action regarding the Cultural Arts Commission. I just advise the council to be cautious about an effort to consolidate and enhance the city staff's responsibilities and to take the voice of the general public, the volunteers who are on the Cultural Arts Commission and have a voice. just be cautious about reducing their voice that they have in city government. I'm not saying that this is a bad idea. I'm just saying consider it carefully and look at everything that's happening with reducing the Cultural Arts Commission from 15 members to 9, and also changing their role to an advisory role to the city council. Just consider what that means to reducing the voice of the general public amid everything that's been happening and amid all the comments that were made about the Ryan House earlier. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Bierman. Any other comments from the public? Any comments online? No. Okay, comments from the council.
So I understand there's been a change in picking the concerts, that now it goes through the DEI committee at City Hall, and they're the ones that really make the final decision.
The Cultural Arts Commission sees for the concerts, they see all the artist applications, and then they review it and put together a recommendation. And then that goes to the DEI committee. And then their final look at it, and then it comes to the director, who is me, who makes the final decision. So the Cultural Arts Commission gets to look at all the artists, and they understand, their objective. They're trying to provide cultural entertainment, things that people are going to want to come see, and things that reflect the culture of our community. So, yeah, so the Cultural Arts Commission definitely has a very active and first in line role, if you will, in terms of the process.
And then what are some of the other activities that the commission is doing in addition to the concerts?
Yeah, the Cultural Arts Commission also does a Chalk Art Festival in coordination with the concerts. It's going to be at Loyalty Park this summer. They also participate in, as we're looking at the Heritage Park redesign, they'll be able to participate in art installations there in terms of providing advice on that aspect of development as well.
Are they going to have an evening, the Nights on Ryan this year?
We're not doing Nights on Ryan this year. One of the things you find with the volunteer commission is you burn people out if there's not enough people participating. And so while it was successful the last couple of years, really difficult to keep that rolling. So we're taking a break from the Nights on Ryan at the end of this year.
Okay, thank you.
Council comments, Councilmember Elfers.
Yeah, hey, Mr. Windisch, just curious, so how many other commissions have more than 9 members?
The Parks and Forestry Commission has more than 9 members.
You know the average, how many?
Most of our commissions only have 7.
Most only have 7, so 9. Okay. And did you get any feedback from the Cultural Arts Commission or anybody else? What did they say about the reduction?
We did. We met with the Cultural Arts Commission to talk about our changes. And we were originally recommending 7 because that's a manageable number. And kind of compromised at 9. They said, we'd like to keep 9. One of the challenges with a large commission is getting a quorum. A quorum is having the majority of your commission sitting when you conduct a meeting. And if you have more people, then you just need to rely on more people to be at the meeting. And sometimes that's difficult. So if you have a little bit smaller commission, like a commission of 9, and we 5.
One more question real quick. So you're saying if there's more folks attending the meetings, then it's easier to get more input, but if people aren't showing up, it's really hard to have a meeting?
Correct. You may not have a meeting at all.
Okay, so we need public engagement. Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Stewart.
Thank you. Mr. Windisch, I just want to make sure I understand what you just said, that because with the current size of the commission, often there's not a quorum.
There's been challenges with getting a quorum with a 15-seated commission. And then oftentimes we're having a hard time even getting 15 commissioners to be on the commission. So.
Okay, and the language, I'm just confused by the language that's in the whereas section that talks about it's been in existence since 2000, which is admirable. For the commission to remain effective and to fulfill an advisory role, certain adjustments to size, membership requirements and duties need to, responsibilities need to change. So that's the main reason what we're doing, looking at this for. I guess that makes sense to me. If you're having trouble getting a quorum, reducing the number makes the quorum's number smaller.
Correct.
How often do you have non-residents of Sumner being in that quorum? Can you roughly say?
We allow for a couple of commissioners to be non-residents. Honestly, don't know which ones on the commission right now are non-residents.
Okay, I'm just kind of curious if non-residents are making decisions supposedly representing citizens of Sumner, but they're not residents.
Most of the membership. Yeah, we don't have a requirement that they be residents of Sumner. But most of them are.
Yeah, I thought the wording in here, no fewer than 5. At least majority shall
Oh, which,
be
yeah,
residents.
sorry, the majority of which shall be residents of the city of Sumner.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
I don't mean to puzzle you or cause you problems answering questions. I'm just want to make sure I understand. So you're recommending going from a size of no more than 15 down to 9 voting members. Is that what you're saying? And so the quorum would then be 5?
Yep.
And you don't think you'll have trouble getting 5 members?
We'll see. I mean, it can be a challenge to get a quorum with any of our commissions, honestly. But we'll do our best. I mean,
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Bowman.
Hi, thank you. So what I'm wondering, so it's to Councilman Stewart's point, I was kind of reading the same thing in there that it states that it's been a successful volunteer committee. With that being said, the membership, what does it consist of? So how many community members versus people that like work in the town? I mean, I know one today that's on the commission that doesn't live here, but I think plays a key role, right? So what's the makeup of that? So are we looking for citizens to actually come and they apply for the commission like other commissions?
Yep.
And if are there 15 people today on it?
no, there's not 15 people today.
Okay, so is there an issue of reducing the number of heads? Or is there an issue of needing to gain up to 9 people? So it's between
No,
5 and 9?
we are at 12 right now.
Okay,
And we were just going to, through attrition, be losing members over time.
okay,
But this action will not have us going back and eliminating or asking commissioners to step down. It'll be through attrition, so.
okay. And so then with that being said, to kind of divert over to something Mr. Bierman said, if there's a concern from the public and the community that their voice won't be heard, then would the suggestion be that they should apply for this commission?
Yes.
Okay, so that would be the remedy to what Nick brought up.
And
How do people apply?
go to our website and look for commissions, and there's applications for commissions for Parks Commission, Planning Commission, Cultural Arts Commission, Forestry and Parks Commission. So there's a lot of commissions that are available that they don't all have openings, but most of them do.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments from the council?
I have one.
Okay, Councilmember Potato.
So isn't one of the members from the library representing the library? Because I know that even though they're may not be citizens of Sumner, they're quite involved in, our
Yes.
community. So I think anybody who's not a citizen of Sumner, if they're serving on the Arts Commission or other commissions, they really have our vision in, as the forefront. They aren't as coming in as a uninterested party. So.
Thank you. Yes, we have a representation from the library and the YMCA both on our Cultural Arts Commission.
That makes sense. Any other comments from the council? Looks like that's it. Can you, will the clerk please call the roll?
Elfers,
Yes.
Cole,
Yes.
Stewart,
Yes.
Bowman,
Yes.
Farragut,
Yes.
Potato.
Yes.
That's unanimous. Okay, so let's move on to item 3B, which is ordinance number 2883, amending the 2023-24 biennial budget. Councilmember Potato, would you like to make a motion?
Yeah, I make a motion to adopt ordinance number 2883, amending the 2023/2024 biennial budget.
There's a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Councilmember Elfers. Now we have our Chief Financial Officer, Cassandra Raymond.
Good evening, Deputy Mayor and Council. Before you this evening, ordinance 2883. This is amending the 2023-2024 biennial budget. This item came before you for review at last week's study session. And with your okay, I have a short presentation to review the items included. So at a glance, our budget amendment decreases overall in all funds our revenues by $424,085 and decreases the expenditures by $681,670. We also have an increase in both transfers in and transfers out. So these offset each other of $222,585. Going fund by fund, in our general fund, we're programming $170,000, transferring this out to Fund 325. This is our Facilities Capital Improvement Fund for the 902-906 Kincaid demolition. And this is consistent with City Council discussion at our January study session reviewing the city's facilities. In addition, transferring out to our Fund 410, the cemetery operations, $16,500. This is to support a seasonal worker in our cemetery for summer of 2024. In Fund 310, this is our Parks and Trail Capital. We will be defunding the Bennett property. This is both an RCO grant, so revenue, as well as a transfer in from Fund 605, which is our impact fee fund, and the associated expenditure. We had applied for RCO funding for this park. Unfortunately, we were not successful in this round, but staff continues to look for funding opportunities to move forward with this park property. In Fund 325, this is again our facilities capital. We're recognizing the transfer in from the general fund and then the associated expenditure for the demolition and abatement at 902-906 Kincaid. In Fund 410, cemetery operations, recognizing the transfer in from the general fund and the associated expenditure of $16,500. This is for a 3-month seasonal position at our cemetery. In Fund 440, this is Metro Animal Services. We have a citizen, when she passed, left a bequest to Metro of $10,000. This came before Finance Committee for acceptance of that bequest. So we'll be recognizing that revenue into our Metro Animal Services Fund. And then finally, in Fund 605, we're deprogramming the transfer out into Fund 310 for the Bennett Park. So I'm happy to answer any questions for this budget amendment.
Are there any comments from the public? Any comments online? Okay. Any comments from the council? Councilmember Elfers?
Ms. Raymond, can you just for the record, just tell me how do you guys, so an RCO grant, you guys applied for that, did a transfer for the park, and then there was another transfer under the expense column, and they were both reversed. Is that accurate?
That's true. So when we applied for the grant, there's a revenue coming in for the grant, and then there's the associated expenditure offset. In addition, because the grant didn't fully cover the expenditures, we also had to transfer into that fund coming in from Fund 605 from park impact fees. So because we were not successful in the grant application, we're removing the revenue from the grant, removing the overall expenditure, and also removing the transfer in from the park impact fee.
So how much net did the city actually spend besides just transferring those?
I think it was roughly maybe $20,000,
Okay,
and that was on development costs.
thank you.
Any other comments from the council? Okay, looks like there are no, there aren't any additional ones. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Elfers,
Yes.
Cole,
Yes.
Potato,
Yes.
Bowman,
Yes.
Clarigate,
Yes.
Stewart.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Passes unanimously. Now item C, the 2024-25 committee selections. Our city administrator, Jason Wilson.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Cole. Just as a reminder, per your council rules, section 20, city council committees are chosen every 2 years. At the beginning of this year, at the first meeting in January, council voted to delay the committee assignments until we could get a new council member seated. And now that Councilmember Clarkett is here, it's time to go through the committee selection process. So as a reminder, historically, we've done this by seniority, and in your council packet on the agenda bill, we provided that list of seniority, starting with Mr. Brown, then Ms. Potato, Ms. Cole, Mr. Stewart, Mr. Elfers, Ms. Bowman, and Mr. Clarkett. So as directed by the deputy mayor and based upon that seniority, council members will make their first selection for a committee, then begin with the most senior council member, choosing either a second committee seat or an alternate position. To help you along in this process on the dais, there's the sign up sheet so you can follow along as the committee positions are filled. For council members Cole and Stewart who have equal seniority, that was decided 2 years ago on the order that would go, and then they're switching this year, and that's why Councilmember Cole will select first this year. As you know, Councilmember Brown is absent tonight, and he did provide his committee selection to the deputy mayor, and she will be going and selecting his committees when it's his turn. The meeting times and chair positions are set after the committees are selected and will be posted online once the committees have selected that at their first meeting. So with that, I'll turn it over to you, Deputy Mayor Cole, to run the process
Thank you.
or answer questions if anybody has questions before we get started.
Are there any questions from the council? No questions. So now we move forward with making those selections.
Yep, just start at the top of that seniority list with Councilmember Brown.
Okay.
Who you will announce which seat you want.
Would you like me to call the names
Oh,
of the
sure.
council members?
That'd make it even easier.
Thank you. Councilmember Brown,
Community development.
Potato,
Finance.
Cole,
Community development.
Stewart,
Public Works.
Elfers,
Public Works.
Bowman,
Finance.
Clarigate.
Public Works.
Brown,
Public Works. I'm not sure how many of those I heard.
and you will be the alternate.
Alternate, thank you. For Brown.
Potato,
Public Safety.
Cole,
Finance and personnel.
would you like to be a member or an alternate?
Member, please.
Stewart,
Finance and Personnel as a member.
unfortunately, Mr. Stewart, the last spot available is an alternate.
Yes.
Okay. Elfers,
Community development,
as a member or an alternate?
member.
Bowman,
Public safety.
member or an alternate?
Member, please.
Clarigate,
Public Safety.
Member or an alternate?
Member?
The two remaining spots, or excuse me, we do have the City Lodging Tax Advisory Committee and alternates available for Community Development and Public Safety. Councilmember Brown,
Public Safety alternate.
Potato,
I'll do the lodging tax.
member or an alternate? Cole,
Public Safety alternate.
Public Safety alternate has been taken.
Okay.
The last position, we do have a Community Development alternate or the City Lodging Tax Advisory Committee alternate.
City Tax Advisory Committee alternate.
Thank you. Mr. Stewart,
Pass.
Mr. Alfers,
I'll be an alternate I don't think any positions are available.
there is a Community Development alternate.
I'm-
Oh,
I'm-
you already are on that? So
A pass.
pass, okay. Ms. Bowman,
Community Development alternate, please.
thank you.
Thank you,
Is that-
Deputy Mayor. That concludes the commission or committee selection process, and we'll be sending out an email to follow up with all of you on the next meeting, as well as who was on what committee.
Great, thank you so much. So it's now time for reports. Councilmember Potato,
And I don't have anything tonight.
thank you. Councilmember Stewart,
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I appreciate the comments that the public came forward with today. You may not know, but I live in an old home myself, and I know it's a lot of work to keep them up. And I recognize the passion that you have, family members and community members. My observation is that the same people show up, except for our friends from Port Orchard. Most of the same people show up every week, and that's wonderful. I don't know where this is headed. I'm sure our city attorney will brief us with the next steps. But don't lose your passion and possibly think about what's the next steps for your group. I was told recently that, and we started with a very few, there was like two people came and then three, and then it tripled, and now you see what you have, and it's wonderful. And there's been some of the comments made about wanting to be more involved, and that's wonderful. We may have trouble finding finances to save the Ryan House. And that's difficult to say when it was pointed out that we are spending a lot of money on different things like parks and sewer plants and things like that. So possibly the Save the Ryan House group might consider working with city staff to find an alternate source of funding, whether it's a levy or a bond issue. I mean, we've got the most talented finance director known to man and woman in this city. I know because I'm a 40-year veteran of city finance. And if there's a way to find funding for this, and you represent a really powerful group, but how many citizens are in the city of Sumner that could vote for a funding package? That's the issue here. Anyway, I just encourage you, don't lose your passion. My house is, we love my house. My wife and I love our house. And anyway, that's all the comments I have. Thank you for being here tonight.
thank you. Councilmember Alfers, any report tonight?
Well, I did want to mention, Mr. Bierman mentioned about Sumner basketball team. I just wanted to make sure it's been a couple weeks late, but I didn't realize it till a week and a half ago. But the gymnastics team at the high school was the state champs. So that's a pretty big deal. My daughter's getting into gymnastics, so that was pretty neat to see that. She's got a good program to go to. I did want to just again thank everyone for the comments. I did a full restoration of a 1930s house, and I just wanted just for the record to say it didn't cost what we expected. It costed about 2.5 times more than that. And so that's pretty standard for a house that's, for a house that's 100 years old. So I think the financial commitment is a big deal. And so our considerations have a lot to do with taxpayers. I do appreciate your comments, and I'm glad we have some time to work through this. So I'm glad I wasn't here to vote for the initial thing. So I'm happy to be a part of the process, and I appreciate your comments. It's really important to do that. I did want to just mention that we also talked about committees and how we're always short of people. And so comments are not, we don't get enough comments. We don't get enough people engaged. So really appreciate that. And then I think another comment that was made that I just wanted to just say something about was the fact that the state, why are we placating to the state? And I think that is a valid point. One of the things that I would encourage anyone here as well is a lot of the stuff the city does is mandated by the state, and it's important that you also make your voice heard. There's a lot of ways to do that online, and the state legislature needs to hear from you. It's a little more difficult to sit in a group like this where you can talk face to face with your state legislature, but a lot of the stuff that's happening right now is at the state level. And it really, if you're willing to spend the time here and see what's going on, I hope you realize that there's a lot of things on the state level that would really, your voices would be appreciated as well. So thank you.
Councilmember Bowman.
I would just say ditto with Councilman Stewart and with Councilman Elpers. There's been a lot said. I too appreciate all the comments and the consistency of people coming in and talking. I would also remind everyone, last week, I think that Mr. Bierman brought in a great presentation where he had gone out and looked for potential ways to acquire financing, perhaps not just himself, but in unity. So I think the working together and the we is really critical at this point in the juncture. I know that as a citizen living here in the town, I feel that it's important that everybody's voice is heard. There's reality aspects that have to be taken into account, but a lot of goodness can come from this. So just thank you and keep showing up and think about it. I know you guys do think about it and talk about it, but it'll be key to keep some of this information in front of us as we're moving forward. So thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Clark.
I think everything's been said pretty well, so I have no comments.
Thank you. I don't have any either because I think everyone did a fantastic job with just sort of summarizing where we are, what our thoughts are as well with everything that's going on within the city. So thank you guys for coming and being a part of our meetings and your meetings too. Thank you. So now we will have the city administrator report.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. At next week's study session, we'll be getting a year-end financial review on 2023. We'll also start the review of the Parks and Trail Plan update. This is a plan that we have to update every 5 years, and it's also part of our comprehensive plan. So we will be going through that process over the next 2 months. It has a hard deadline being approved by the end of May. April 1st at the regular council meeting, we'll have a public hearing on surplus utility equipment. You'll consider a grant acceptance for floodplains by design, a contract award to IT Security Solutions, a resolution for data sharing with the Washington State Auditor's Office. You'll consider a collective bargaining agreement with the International Union of Operating Engineers, the Planning Commission reappointment of one of our members, an ordinance amending the 2024 compensation schedule related to the collective bargaining agreement, as well as a resolution adopting the transportation improvement plan that we had the public hearing on tonight. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions from council? There are none. Thank you, Mr. Wilson. So at this time, I'm going to adjourn the meeting to discuss legal counsel representing the agency litigation or potential litigation per RCW 42.30.110 II for a period of about 15 minutes. and there will be no action to follow. It is 7:12.